take to have a successful family? There are probably a lot of answers to that. Jim Priest is with Marriage Network Oklahoma. He joins us with some characteristics of families that succeed. And Jim, last time you were here, we discussed, I think, three kind of characteristics of successful families.
Right. These are all based on a presentation I heard many years ago by Dr. Jay Kessler from Taylor University. And there's 6 total. We'll talk about the last 3 in just a minute, but the first 3, just to remind viewers, families that succeed, or at least families that tend to succeed, tend to do these things, is where love is openly exhibited, husband to wife, parents to kids. Individual respect is observed. We talked about Billy Graham's daughter said her dad always knocked before he came into her room, and where rules and boundaries are communicated ahead of time. So kids don't get, whacked in the head because, oh, you disobeyed that rule. I didn't even know that was a rule.
Right.
So you do that ahead of time, and you kind of lay out the boundaries, and you tell them, now these are the consequences. If you choose to disobey the rules, this is what's going to happen. So, and Dr. Kessler is very careful to say, nobody gets this exactly right. It's not formulaic. You do the best you can, and these are principles. They're not ironclad rules.
Good guiding principles.
Right.
All right,
exactly.
We're going to tackle the final 3 today. The next one is families that succeed are families where problems are confronted openly and given proper weight.
Right. I think this is a great one because it runs counter to what my inclination is. I don't like conflict generally in my personal relationships, and so I tend to try to find ways to avoid conflict. But I heard this concept from Dr. Kessler and also through principles that are taught through the Oklahoma Marriage Initiative, that conflict is the passageway to greater intimacy in your marriage and with your kids. And at first I thought, well, that's like leaning into a left hook. Right. I'm going to go look for a fight. But I heard Coach Capel, Jeff Capel today, the OU basketball coach, speak today, and he was talking about the same thing on his basketball team. Honesty is one of the core principles. He tells his players what they need to hear, whether they want to hear it or not, but he does it as diplomatically as he can. And we need to do this in a family. There's times when we need to speak the truth, and the Bible talks about this, speak the truth in love. You don't sugarcoat it, you don't stuff it down your leg and not talk about issues. If there's a problem, confront it lovingly and diplomatically.
All right. The next one, families that succeed are families committed to process.
Right. Process is the long haul. And so whether it's in your marriage or with your kids, you recognize, this isn't a perfect situation. But this kid who's given you all kinds of trouble isn't frozen in this stage. He's not always going to be a rebel. He's not always going to sass you back. Or with your marital partner. She's not always going to be sarcastic in her response. Maybe she's under stress. And so we're in this boat together. Sometimes it gets rocky. If we're out on the lake and we're going to go fishing, we don't go in when the waves start rocking the boat. You stay out there. And same thing with a family. We're in this for good. We're in it for better and worse. And Dr. Kessler always talks about the fact he told his kids, I'm your father. I will always be your father. You cannot muster out of this outfit. And so just get used to it. And in a kind sort of way, that's the message we need to communicate. We're in this marriage for keeps. We're husband and wife and parents for keeps.
All right. And finally, families that succeed are families who keep God as the head, not just of the children, but of the whole family.
Right. I saw a poster a bunch of years ago that I had up in my room for many years, and it said, there are 2 foundational truths of enlightenment. 1, there is a God. 2, you are not him. And so parents especially need to remember that when they're dealing with their kids, that they are subject to a higher authority. The kids are subject to a higher authority. It's not just you kids, you got to pray and you got to do things like go to church or go to Sunday school. But everyone is under the authority of the Heavenly Father, and we all are subject to someone else's authority. It keeps us from bossing each other around too much.
Maybe the best principle of all. All right, Jim, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And